Hey everybody, today I'm excited to review for you The White Bishop by Perras-Sanchez and Aron Beauregard. The White Bishop is a violent slice of nautical horror. Captain of the Deschantal, Antonio, receives an offer he can't refuse. He and his crew will be paid an exorbitant amount of money if they just ship a container and don't open it. And, if you've ever read a tale like this before, you know it's not going to end well, right? Antonio and his brother Fernando recruit a crew from town. It helps that fishing season has not gone well and people are starving for money. At the last minute, the crew requests that they have a chaplain on board, so they get one from a broken down church in town. The voyage begins and things don't go well. Presentation wise, I think this is a gorgeous presentation. One of the things I love about this cover is it does things I would probably never do, but it's just very successful as a cover. This cover painting by Kim Jacobson is really beautiful, gory, beautiful. It's kind of hard to take in. It is very dark, and so it was a little hard to take in when I first really got it. I always thought it looked cool, and even online, but seeing it in person and just seeing all the colors and the detail, it's just a gorgeous book. I really like the simplicity of the presentation here. It works really well for this book. So presentation wise, A plus. It's very well printed, and I'm very happy with it. I got the hardcover, the signed limited edition version of it, but it's still available in paperback. And maybe this is still available. I didn't check, honestly. But if you can get the hardcover, it's definitely worth it. When it comes to characters, one thing you have to remember, this is a very short book. It's about 147 pages, and it's just the right length. What I loved about it is the characters are very well sketched in. They're quick, you don't linger necessarily on things, but you understand who each of them are very quickly. That's established very well. And pretty much everyone has a little bit of interest or intrigue or something about them that you're not quite sure of, which is really interesting and makes for a great setup as things start to deteriorate. Plot wise, again, because this is a book that's on the shorter side, things happen quickly, and I think the pacing is actually perfect because the authors here are able to create a sense of time passing. The chapters in this are very short, which I think actually really helps kind of almost add to the sort of vignette feel of some of the scenes here. So you really just kind of get the important stuff. And they check in on the health of the crew, both physical and mental, from time to time. So it really gives you a sense of the toll that it's taking on this crew. I love when you take a group of fallible humans and put them into a confined space. It's like one of my favorite genres of horror in general, like whether that's a ship at sea or a ship in space or a space station or a station in Antarctica. I just think it's really fascinating to see how things break down, and that's the sort of story you really have here. You get plenty of mounting dread as well as just some beautifully rendered and described passages of gore. Kind of just ticks a lot of boxes for me. So then when it comes to like the goriness and the horror, like I think part of it is honestly just the way it's written. It's really well written. It's descriptive without just being kind of repetitive or a slog to read through. That's one thing, sometimes when people like get really into describing these sort of, graphic scenes of gore, I just can get a little bored. It's kind of like with fight scenes. Like if you linger on it too long, I personally just am like, okay, let's move on from here. But I think the writing in here is very well judged. The one thing I will say is there are some word choices and phrasings and that kind of thing that may feel a little odd at first, but I really liked that it kind of felt in the period, and I'm assuming that was the intention because there are turns of phrase that are maybe using a little more elaborate words than we would in casual conversation now. I'm a vocab person. I love words and I love unusual words. But I think if the amount that's in this book were in a story set in the modern day, it would feel kind of strange. But here it works perfectly, and I think it kind of adds to the atmosphere and the time period and the setting. Overall thoughts, one of the reasons why I wanted to read this during Pride Month is Perras-Sanchez is a queer creator, and I followed him on Twitter for a while. He's a filmmaker. He created Death Drop Gorgeous, and he did Saint Drogo, and he has a new film that he's just wrapping up right now. And I really think it's fun that he partnered with Aron Beauregard to create this first novel, and I look forward to reading more.